Hey everyone, and hello Samda Kunda in particular. This is someone who just posted recently, 14 minutes ago in fact, on my Canadian Libertarian Facebook page in regards to a CBC hit piece on Maxime Bernier with the title headline, Corporate Welfare, the Koch brothers, and being authentic. Maxime Bernier in conversation. But listen to the, well actually she didn't necessarily write a comment, but shared a meme. You know, one of those memes that, hey, I've even used the Velociraptor as a background meme for some of the messages I want to suggest or espouse myself. But listen to this one, folks. So obviously Sandra falls for the rhetoric and the lies espoused by CBC. Well, Sandra, if you get a chance to watch this video, you're going to get a proper education. You're going to get properly informed with no political bias, with just objective reason, logic, and moral consistency backing up everything I say. Anyways, her meme says, right libertarianism advocates giving the wealthy and the big corporations enormous tax cuts. Doesn't that mean corporations will have even more to spend on buying politicians? Right? If you're a libertarian, or if you're anyone that even understands remotely the philosophy of liberty, you already know where I'm going with this. So let's start, first of all, the first two words used in this meme. Right libertarianism. First of all, Sandra, I mean, thanks for at least being willing to share this on my page, because it means at least you're actively engaged and hopefully you genuinely want to learn. And if that's the case, well, I'm going to help you out right now. There's no such thing as right or left libertarianism. Just like there's no such thing as, you know, right or left mathematics. 2 + 2 is 4, and it doesn't matter where you reside on the political spectrum or in regards to your philosophy or your psychology. That's just a truthful statement. That's just reality. That's just objectively true. That's a fact. Libertarianism is a philosophy. Now, there are some people who want to play the political game that may identify themselves as libertarians. But you know, I could call myself Santa Claus or Easter Bunny. Does it really mean I am the Santa Claus or Easter Bunny just because I say so? No. You have to go by what, not just what I say, but how I live and the actions that I take and how that plays out in the real world in my own life. You got to stop falling for political rhetoric. You just got to use that portion of your brain that seeks out truth and to figure out whether what people are suggesting even makes sense. Now, I know it does require, I know sometimes people like myself that have been well informed and well versed and understand a lot of this stuff now intrinsically, I know it might not be so easy for others, but I'm just going to help you here, okay? No such thing. Like I said, no such thing. There's no such thing right or left libertarianism. There's just like there's no such thing as right or left science. If the experiment can be repeated over and over and you get the same results objectively, and it doesn't matter if it happens in Canada or in Japan or in Alaska, now, science is science. You know, gravity doesn't have any political leanings, and neither does the philosophy of liberty. And no libertarian, I mean, first of all, that's another thing. Point out, can you at least give me an example who are these libertarians or self-identified or self-described libertarians that are suggesting to give only the wealthy tax cuts? No, libertarians would say, hey, listen, we don't think government should have any pretense or of authority or any higher claim on your income. Just like libertarians back in the day, you know, when there was such thing as slavery, there were all kinds of people that were advocating and using fear-mongering tactics to stand up and defend slavery. Libertarians back in the day, which would have been classical liberals, say, no, sorry, there's no such thing as legitimately owning other human beings. Just like libertarians today are saying, no, there's no such thing as governments have any legitimate claim or authority over your income. Why don't you understand these things? To be a free human being means that if I go out and work, if I use my labor, my intellect, my body, my mind to build, create, or generate something, nobody has any claim on that. I'm sorry that you think that that might be the case. Well, I mean, now in an employer-employee setting, if we have come to an agreement contractually as the terms of our employment, that's already set in stone. But as far as the government, which let me just tell you, Sandra, news flash, here's a revelation you've probably never heard in your life. There's no such thing as genuinely legitimate government because, if I don't have any authority to take from other people any portion of their income, because that would be considered theft, right, Sandra? Well, how can I delegate that authority onto another human being? Does that other human being not have to be restricted to the same moral principles as me? Of course. Every human being, we're all human beings. There's no such thing as special human beings that have any pretense where they can steal from people, and that's legitimate. If you don't ask someone for their permission, if it's not a voluntary exchange, it's theft. And no political language, no legalese can twist or distort, like I said, reality or the fact that 2 + 2 is 4. Now, I know I'm getting a little deeper than you're probably used to because you're probably used to listening to people talk about politics, which is just like another pretense of mysticism where you have 2 people that pretend they're gods that don't have to function in reality talking about shit that has nothing grounded in anything objective. No, as a libertarian myself, which I am a libertarian, as you must understand, you're sharing this on a libertarian page. I'm the Canadian libertarian, so you must know that obviously I kind of know what a libertarian is and what we represent. And no, I would never suggest to give corporation tax. No, I would say, listen, taxation is theft. Hashtag taxation is theft. Matter of fact, I've shared that. Hey, look through some of my past videos. You can probably get better informed just by watching some of my past videos regarding this stuff. But yeah, theft is theft. Extortion is extortion. I don't defend it for corporations. And what is a corporation? Have you ever asked yourself, what is a corporation, Sandra? Have you ever looked it up? It only takes, I don't know what, few seconds, depending on how fast you type, to just search up corporation, meaning, or definition. Just try it sometime, and you'll see. It's a legal entity created by a legislative act. And who creates legislation? But governments. So a corporation is a direct result of governments suggesting that there are certain people that can own businesses where they have limited or no liability for everything they do. That's actually corporatism, cronyism. That's a quasi-form, or basically fascism. So once again, once you merge, the mystical entity of government with a business, that is no longer anything that even functions within anything remotely resembling a free market, or where free people have voluntary choice to interact or not. So once again, you're functioning in the area. You're trying to misconstrue and misrepresent what freedom is. You're trying to put freedom with people that are authoritarians. Libertarians and authoritarians don't function. It's like the North Pole and the South Pole. They just they push against each other. They will not join or align properly, and never will, okay? Once again. And as far as, doesn't that mean that corporations will have even more to spend on buying politicians? First a minute. Buying what, Sandra? Buying what, right? So basically you're admitting in this meme that, well, the corporations need to buy politicians in order to enact legislation to benefit them. So who creates legislation? But politicians. And what do politicians represent but government? So once again, no matter how you try to twist or manipulate these things, reality comes back to, it's always the main entity that has the so-called authority of power to allow any of this to happen is the government. So a corporation, once again, which is just a legislative act that suggests that these legal fictions now don't have to be liable or held accountable personally, like you or I would, right? Stop going against the corporation. If you're anti-corporations, then you have to be anti-government, because governments created corporations. That's just the reality. Like I said, 2 + 2 is 4. Governments create legislation that brought about the existence of corporations. Now, I could spend a whole lot more time trying to educate and inform you, but like I said, I've got, I don't know, probably almost 700 videos at this point. I suggest that you just use the search function in my video section and type in some of these key terms that you're using, and you'll see it. And even if you don't want to listen to me, a lot of other people, hey, use lots of different other searches, but you'll find out that, no, libertarians don't defend big corporations. No, what it is we all have to function in the world, right? that we are currently stuck with. And some people do, I'll admit, choose that they use the political means, which is government, which is the gigantic gun in the room, to push back or use defensive towards people they oppose. Not saying it's good, not saying it's moral, but it's literally what everyone does at this point. Well, anyone that delves into the political realm. That's what politics entails, is using the gun in the room, the monopoly of force and violence in any geographical landmass. And once again, just look up what government means, right? That's all you got to do. Just once again, easy to find out that this is truthful, that I'm not just giving you my own personal definition. It's literally the definition as defined in any dictionary that you'll find out there, whether it's online or the ones that you actually go to the library and read. Once again, you just have to just stop listening to political rhetoric and just start thinking about the words and terms that these people use objectively. And if you've done that, if you choose to do that going forward, you will come to realize that no, libertarians would not defend corporations or cronyism or forced income or wealth redistribution or the buying of politicians. And you'll never hear anyone out there suggesting or espousing that. And if you do have an example of that, well, I'll point out that's not a libertarian if you want. Hey, if you can get them to have a conversation with me, if they identify as a libertarian, I'll point out that you are definitely not a libertarian. Anyways, I hope you learned something today, Sandra, because it's not that I have anything against you. It's just that I recognize that you've either been woefully ill-informed or misinformed, or that there's something wrong going on with your logic, and I'm trying to help you. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.